We're moving on to the next section. I'm going to invite up our headliner. Bear with me a sec. Hey there, Stephen. Let me just spotlight you. It's time for our special guest, Stephen Lightbown. Born in Blackburn, based in Bristol, poet Stephen Lightbown writes extensively, but not exclusively, about life as a wheelchair user. Stephen has published 2 collections of poetry, both with Burning Eye Books. In 2019, his first one, Only Air, came out, which focused on the accident that left him paralyzed at 16. His second book is The Last Custodian, and it was released only yesterday. So we are like the lucky first audience to hear his work at a gig, and it's about an apocalypse. Very exciting stuff. Can't wait to hear these poems. Let's give a big fire and dust welcome to Stephen.
Thanks, Rafe. Thanks so much, and thanks everyone for letting me follow your amazing poems in the open mic. That was really great. I've enjoyed sitting here and listening to all your poems. Yeah, I'm gonna read some poems from my new collection, as Rafe says, called The Last Custodian. And in case you forget what the cover looks like, it's there behind me. And I've asked Rafe. I've sent a PDF of the poems I'm going to read tonight, and I've asked Rafe if he can put them into the chat so that if anyone wants to read along as we go along, you can do that as well, if that makes things a bit easier.
Yeah, I've just tried to add it from my G drive, Stephen, and it's not allowing me to do it. Did you want like a copy and paste, just like the text to go in? Is that what you're after?
No, I was going to do it as like a sort of, I think you can attach as a file attachment. But
yeah, that's what I was trying to do. It's offering me all different platforms that I haven't got, and Google Drive isn't working for it.
That's all right, no worries.
Sorry, man.
So yeah, the collection, as Rafe said, is about an apocalypse, and I started these poems before the pandemic hit, but then most of the poems I wrote during it, and I think that feels like an appropriate time to have written a collection of poems about an apocalypse, and in the sense that we pretty much all woke and overnight had to get used to a new way of doing things. You know, the life changed very much for us all. And imagine if you push that 100, maybe 200 forward, and you walk one day and you looked out of your curtains and there was a strange red dust that had shrouded the earth. And then you realized that maybe you were the only survivor. And what would you do? Would you stay in your house and kind of wait it out? Or would you leave in search of maybe other survivors and food and medical supplies? And that's what this story is. This is the story of a fictional character called Luke, who's a paraplegic. He's in Bristol. He wakes, he finds he's the only person left alive, and he decides to push across the country in terms of others, looking for other survivors. And it's written in diary form over the course of a year. So I'm going to read it. There's not going to be any bits in between the poems. I'm just going to read them each one as they come along. Yeah, hope you enjoy. Day 1, Bristol. I drink the juice from the tin peaches, gulp down survivor syndrome, ignore the urge to add cream and ladyfingers. Thinking of dessert doesn't seem right when I can't smile at you across our table raised on 4 yoga blocks. A small ooze of sugar water escapes from the tin and settles in my beard. I leave it, fantasize about an exhausted bee replenishing itself on my chin. I wipe the sticky residue away with a grubby hand. I'm so bereft of contact that the thought of a bee coming for pleasure, then leaving to return to the hive revitalized, is simply too much. Day 14, Bristol. I'm sorry you're all dead. At last, I can leave the house without being spiked by jealousy. I would see you, jog to work, walk barefoot along a beach collecting girlfriends, fuck in a disabled toilet, ride 2 horses bareback through Wilko, chase a lion scrapping with another lion, use a clutch in a 1984 Mercedes convertible, save a kite from a rainbow. It's scary how free I feel to not look at your potential. Wish I could be the life you took for granted, like breathing. I would see you, walk from an argument into an embrace. Where's your air now? I want to say, I miss you. All the things we could have shared. I would pick our scab and you would feel it bleed. Day 25, Bridgewater Services, M5. Clear up begins after dust storm. The last headline. It came. We didn't know why Robert from Durham spoke of Martian dust hiding in the creases of his washing. Farmer Francesca complained of shearing sheep dyed candy floss orange. I grab a red top, a chomp, pepperami and biro. Leave 3 pebbles and a dandelion leaf on the counter, because what even is currency now? I look at the paper. This historical document, vacuum of pointlessness. It told us nothing about the crossword will give me something to do. Day 40, Plymouth. The sky is peeling. Visibility measured by abandoned cars. This day is 3 golf estates thick. There is a strange beauty in the red that stains the sky. Cinematic, almost. Yesterday's tarmac is still in the palm of my hands. Dust rents my lungs. My static day marked by disappearing tyre tracks. Every wasted breath trashes my chances of meeting the librarian. I need some sort of purpose, hope scratched by the grit from the constant cloud. No choice but to wait, reeking of cherry juice and paranoia. Movement is futile. A sign in an abandoned subway. More freshly made tomorrow. Day 41, Plymouth. I turn into the street. The familiarity of potholes under wheels gives me hope that this one may have been exempt. I see the postbox where Mum would post my birthday and Christmas cards. I push to it, put my hand in its mouth, place a palm where she would have placed hers, to hold her hand before. I ask the postbox, has she been here? Has she tried to write? The postbox doesn't reply. I look down at the dust and see only my tyre tracks, no footprints. I could post my faith somewhere else. I decide to hold on to it. Day 42, Plymouth. I find them in their double bed, insides by insides. Dad loved the way you could lift up the mattress and reveal a huge storage space underneath. I want to hold them, but I can't bear to touch, see, smell. Eventually, the bed will take them. When people die, they look like they're sleeping. That's a lie. They don't look peaceful at all. They don't look like my parents. I'm glad you were together, I whisper. Before I leave, I wonder if they ever felt this helpless when they watched me in a hospital bed, altered from the sun they raised, but still their son, a seed into a tree, into a table, then a bonfire. I place a framed picture of them on the side of their bed, their faces held together by the light. Day 55, Torquay. The first thing I notice is the smell. Rancid horses stable. It lingers like the 3 a.m. guest at an old party. I find her in the front room with the armchairs. She could have been 40. Her perfume, despair. I guess a week, if not longer. Is that you, John? Her words catch in a riptide looking for the shore. I keep my eyes open for signs. 2 rucksacks, 1 rolled out mattress, a book, Don Quixote. Her voice in the cushions, swollen, bandaged, clearly a ruin. Did you find him? That man in a wheelchair, John? John, the man I killed. I hold back the urge to gag, to cry, to leave. I move towards her, place my hands on something I'm still trying to understand. Quick water break. Day 75, Chickerell. My dead skin mixes with their dead skin. I transfer onto the sofa, an exchange of unpleasantries, asleep in less time than it takes to say, Viva la Chickerell, awake not long after. The sound of the fridge opening. I'm here, though, alone with a single jar of mayonnaise floating into the room that died 3 months ago. A box of Happy Families lunges at me. A pair of Crocs cartwheel in my direction. Something prods at me from behind. The ghosts of this bungalow want my attention. I stop knocking before I enter houses. Maybe that was the wrong thing to do. What's the matter, lad? You afraid of the Dodgems? You too small for this, he says through a fag. I want to get off. Day 80, Dorchester. I cross Grange Bridge near the Teddy Bear Museum, arrive into a Rothko exploration on canvas. The countryside behind me. This is nature, unsettling. The sky is thriving. The dust, orange in midday sun, where it lingers in shadows, a darker red. The lines have been erased. Buildings are a blur consumed by Technicolor. The depth of the street only revealed with every roll I make further into the painting. After the bridge, I fall into a palette of emotions. The dust paints the hairs on my arms orange. My trainers turn red. Trousers, wheels, red. The orange of my t-shirt meets the red of my wasteland. I have been painted into today. I close my eyes. For once, it isn't black. Day 100, Portsmouth. There are things I thought I would miss, but don't. Like the way I thought I'd be desperate to fuck when I lost my legs, but all I wanted was to hold my wife and run my fingers over her like she was a blade of grass I didn't want to bend. The only difference between a creeping speedwell defiantly and alone and a hyacinth in a hand-painted vase is the care it was placed with. My urge to tend the weeds is strong. I want to tell them, wherever you are, you grow in all the right places. Day 102, Portsmouth. I was 8 when I saw my first dead body. Our neighbour in Plymouth. Heroin. Surrounded by the dead, all I'm thinking about is corpses I've seen before. We lived in a big townhouse down near the marina. The super yachts looked like model boats from my bedroom. Next door had been converted into flats. This guy lived on the top floor. He was a really nice bloke, always in a pair of cycling shorts. I used to help him clean his mountain bike. He'd tip it upside down and I'd furiously spin the pedals whilst he dripped oil on the chain. I went at those pedals like I was furiously hand cranking a Model T Ford. I got into biking because of him. It was guilt. I wanted to keep his bike on the road. People asked us how we didn't notice he was missing, but new tenants kept arriving. For a week or so, I remember a smell moving into our house, the way Nana did when Grandad was in hospital with a disease I couldn't pronounce. The memory of that makes me sad. We couldn't place it. Out of the window, I remember seeing a shadow of white boiler suits walking up and down the stairs on the outside of the building. Next thing, the boiler suits are carrying a stretcher with a body bag. And the smell went with him. Day 140, Gatwick Airport. In lieu of a passport, I wave a used plaster at the check-in desk. I'm off to Wroclaw, I shout at a recycling bin. I carry a suitcase through security, hold my arms out for a cold feet pat down that never shows. My kills paraded in a clear bag. I breeze through the duty free. I do not turn left. Good day to you, impossibly smooth flooring. I unhook the cart from the back of chair and I push. I glide like a curling stone. Imagine a pleasant chap in black pants sweeping a path before me. The remains of weekend revelers cheer gate after gate. You know, an empty airport is a ridiculous place, as many toilets as planes on a runway. I take a pilot cap off a corpse. I'm a captain now. Almost useful, potentially respectable. This is your captain speaking. We are beginning our descent. I let that lie soar through Terminal 2. Day 146, Clackett Lane Services, the M25. The frame of a wheelchair, if drawn in lines, looks like a section of a flight of stairs. I notice this now for the first time as I take the wheels off to clear them of memories. When assembled, the frame has two wheels at the back, the size of dustbin lids, the ones without wheels, and two wheels at the front, the size of the palms of my hands. The frame itself used to be a polished silver. Now it's scratched, dull, held together with gaffer tape and hair ties. Chair has pushed past the remains of a country that only a year ago would have stood on 2 feet and thought I could not survive without help. How far would I have made it without this frame, these 4 wheels? Day 148, Shoreham. Without you, I cannot move. 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 Without you, my wheel, I cannot move. Day 200, London. I understand. Here, now, I can draw a zip around it all. The sky is canvas, this one-man tent of a world. I am alone, with every mistake I have ever made, and no one to own up to. Day 207, the British Library. The ceiling rises upwards as if the year escaped the first day. I've traipsed my finger along a spine from Bristol. I don't know why I'm here. She watches, her back to the box office. She's assumed control. I have to decide if I'm returning or borrowing something. It's a bit bigger than Waterstones. That was the best I could do. I wanted to see her face, the librarian. I'm trying to build a world with books, and you are here. You made it. You followed. Now, what do you do? She had spoken through pages, brought me here to show we would not start again from scratch. High-rise stories and no one to listen. I can't flick to the truth. It's okay, she says. In amongst everything we got wrong are all the things we almost got right. It won't be easy. It never was. And I'll leave you here with day 211 in London. There's another 150 odd days, but you'll have to buy the book to find out what happens next. Day 211, London. I've started writing assistants on my shopping lists. There are words without lines through them. Cake, gingham curtains, pity. From before, when I wheeled through a door, I collected disappointment. My difference is clearer than lifeboats at a rodeo. I recall their questions, not faces. Do you need a hand with that? I'll let you know. Now I see myself in the gradual revolutions of Fuseley pasta. I clear shelves, my hands reach to write messages in cards no one will read. In these bemused aisles, can I be disabled if there is no one to compare me to? Thank you very much, everyone.